The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
TGIF Warriors, hope everyone had a good week. You couldn't have helped yourself if you were following the pips from the team. Blake short Kiwi before the central bank, and Kiwi collapsed well over 120 pips or so. Steve Volge's gold short, huge trade as well. So if you participated in both, you had a good month this week. Hello, Hammond. How are you? Nice to meet you. Thanks for hanging out with us. So I want to start off with a couple of things. First of all, the euro. DSI on euro, I believe, is 16 or under 20 for sure. Okay, so I was got a tweet. I think it was Sunday night or Monday by Mark Have showing um, kind of a bearish look with pitchforks. I believe that's what he uses in the dollar. And I asked him what would change his view, and the response I got was, what I said, would a close over 97.70 change your view? And I got responses like even Charlie Brown knows the dollar's going to 97.70. Okay, so I do believe eventually we'll break out over that area, and it measures, back to par. And we showed a great chart of it for free on our blog. Chart of the day keeps the confusion away. But I have to say that at least I think before that happens, there's going to be at least one shakeout of weak shorts, people that have come to the party late. As you can see here on the 1 hour, we haven't made a new RSI low since, I don't know, I guess this was last week. This was a Fed, and then it gave it back, and then really gave it back here. So this was Friday, I believe. So we haven't seen any RSI lows in a week. New confirmed lows. What I mean by confirmed lows is both price and RSI are both making new lows at the same time. Otherwise, it's called a divergence. So I look at the euro here and think that I have a lot of confluence up here around this 1310 level with moving averages and so forth. See this on the 1 hour, 1316. Look at it on the 4 hour, 1310, confluence of both of them. Daily, look at this, a little higher, right there. 1320, 1330, excuse the shaky hands. So I think it could be a magnet. And if we get through there, then something else is going on, and we're going to challenge this high, and then maybe we're going to get this turn in the dollar to 117, which would take the dollar back to 94 or so. So this is a contrarian trade that I'm working. I'm wrong under the lows. I'm not going to fight it through new lows, even though there'll be divergence. But I'm thinking at least one little pop. I don't know if it happens today or Monday, back towards 1310 to 1330, and then maybe the resumption and the breakdown to make new lows. So that's the way that looks to me. The dollar looks like that too. So here was the layup, right? Breakout over 97.70 on the daily. And when you look at it short term, and the euro kind of did that too. See this 78.6 back. So initially, just like the euro, I'm thinking we could pull back to 670 or so, 660. But I will say this now, you could almost, how this was a very important demarcation line this low. Well, I think 96.50 is now, because if we get through 96.50, we're going to take out 96. So we'll see what happens here. Have a little reversal day going in the euro. Everyone with me, you don't have to agree with me on my, forecast or what I'm doing in the market. More important that you understand the rationale and the hows, which is what you can do as a subscriber. Pretty good segue, huh? Because as a subscriber, you get all the hows and the whys. The team is thinking what they're thinking. All right. So you not only get the charts, you get Amanda saying hello to you, which is always nice when you log in. And you get all the explanations and the technical reasons, plus all the different views. Okay, you get commentary, Elliott commentary from Grega, and you get harmonic charts plus commentary from Andre. If you want to learn the hows and the whys and not just take the signals, because you know what? You know what our mission is here? We'd like to have you for subscribers the rest of your trading career. But I know that Blake and the whole team feel this way. We started this to help people have a shot instead of people coming in with $5,000 accounts and blowing up. We want you to be there for the long haul. And we want you to learn during the process of being with us, which also happens in members chat because you're collaborating with traders that might be better than you. Like I did 2 years ago. I think our anniversary is next week, 2 years of face. Hope everyone that's been here from the onset has not just earned, but learned, and that we've added value to your experience and your objectives and goals as a trader. And the best way to say thank you is to subscribe for 6 months. And actually, you know what? You're not doing that for us. You're really doing that for yourself. As I said, I've talked to many people that were floundering that said coming to ForexAnalytix was a game changer for them. So, I mean, this is real testimony from people I talk to. It's not just my, subjective view of the team. But you need to do it. I believe Fridays are a great day to get used to navigating the platform. And, most of my trades that I did this week, I planned them. I was looking at all the divergences in Aussie Kiwi over the weekend and thought there was a shot for a reversal week to the upside. I didn't know the central bank was going to help that scenario unfold and manifest, but technically, I was prepared for it. So that's what you need to do this weekend. I want everyone to raise their hand and take an oath. I will prepare for the trading week next week, this weekend, have all my technical areas prepared so I'm not impulse trading on the fly. Give me a Y if you agree to the oath and write it down and start keeping a journal. Because I'm going to tell you, if you're going to be lazy, you're going to pay Mr. Market. Okay, and so I didn't want to get religious here, but Ziggy said, "So help me God." So you're okay. You're under oath now, Ziggy. I'd like to see your tax returns. Hello, Bex. Okay, great.
He's he's
Huh?
gonna he's gonna give you his tax returns when Trump does it.
I knew
I
you
guess.
were going to say that. So that means never. Oh, only by subpoena, Ziggy. All right. Anyway, uh, I love the team I'm on. I'm watching NCAA playoffs and how those five guys on the floor live and die and leave it out on the floor for each other for the effort of the team. And I've been around for a while. I've never been part of a stronger, talented, yet humble group of people. Okay, so it's a blessing. When I say don't just count your pips, count your blessings, working with this team is a blessing in my life. And I bet you guys that haven't subscribed, it's been a blessing in yours. So sow good seeds so you can reap a harvest and sign up now. You don't need to think about it anymore. You just do it. And you're doing it not for us. We appreciate it. We'd like your business, but we don't need it. Okay. Really, it's the way I feel. We'd like your business. We don't need it. In fact, I bring in all kinds of people every day that, they're saying, people say, Dale, why do you interview these people? They're competitors. A lot of them, they have services. Why do you do that? I said, because I do that for our community and to help them see other things that perhaps they're not getting here. And they go, well, you could lose a subscriber. And I say, well, okay, they needed to have a different experience, because sometimes you have to um, not have something and go somewhere else to appreciate what you had. Anyone agree with me on that? I've experienced that, not just, in trading, but in many areas of my life, that you really don't know sometimes what you had until you don't have it anymore.
I can
So,
guess one of the areas.
what is it?
Women.
Well, let me tell you something, Steve. That's the exception. In at least 50% of the cases. Okay. All right. Anyway, it was a very good guess. You just didn't wait for confirmation before you made that call. So anyway,
Yeah.
Blake, great week, man. Leading the team with your view on Kiwi, with the Kiwi short and working Kiwi yen. And Steve, great shot on the downside of gold. I feel fortunate to be part of the group.
Well, thanks, Coach.
Yeah, man,
And
it's real.
TGIF to you.
Yeah. I'll sleep until maybe about 4:30.
Yeah, right.
You have a biorhythm too. Can you sleep in on the weekends?
No, Saturdays I get up around 5, and then Sundays I get up at 5:30, and then I get back to 3, whatever.
Right. Yeah, you get a biorhythm, and your body just is used to waking up at a certain time.
Yeah, it doesn't shift until I go on actual proper vacation. So, which is a shame. But hey, we have today is Friday, and we've got a few things that we need to talk about. First of all, we have Canadian GDP. We have core PCE, personal spending. Personal income in the U.S., Canadian GDP being released. So some pretty key news releases at the end of the week. And then plus we have this another Brexit vote coming up today. And I think that's in like, I want to say 12. No. Shoot, what time? Stelios, maybe right off the top of your head. I think it's in 3 hours. Is it 3.5 hours?
I need to check. Good morning. They are actually already debating. So, but the vote is a little bit later on. I will check and I'll come back to you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we have another Brexit vote, and it's obviously causing a lot of pound volatility.
Oh, I got it. It's in 2 hours 15 minutes.
2 hours and 15 minutes. Great. So that's going to be at let's see, that's 7:30 my time.
2:30 GMT.
2:30 GMT. Yes. So it's 10:30 a.m. Eastern. It's so anyway, we've seen a lot of volatility in the cable because there's a lot of MPs that are supporting Prime Minister May. At least that they're suggesting that they are. And so that created a little bit of buying off the lows. Now, the cable's obviously in a pretty tricky area for bulls and bears. And I think if you get a move above this resistance, which is just call it like 131.60, that's going to continue to squeeze. That probably means that this Brexit plan may have passed. And I mean, I wouldn't mind buying the cable. I wouldn't mind buying risk just in general, but that's due to if a Brexit plan comes together, or like this vote passes, or whatever the case may be. But also that U.S. and China are inching closer to putting together a deal. So being long risk over the weekend, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But there's a few obstacles in the way. So first and foremost, let's talk about we are at end of month, right? So there's been a few reports that's been moderate U.S. dollar selling. I think that has already been coming through the market. So a lot of times the end of month flows, like you'll see them right here. And even though the fix is in a few hours, it's in a few hours, you're getting it right now. So, or in a couple hours, excuse me. So I think some of that dollar weakness is already being pushed through the market. But what we do know, as far as the euro goes, we're right at that 112 level. Pretty key support that spawns back from back here in November. I suspect that we are going to eventually break down. I just don't know if we're going to do this first. Let me grab a pen. I'm not going to discount this because I think this is pretty possible. We get a rally back and then eventually break down. You know, as this triangle continues to develop, because we're in a tight consolidation, guys. This is the apex of a bearish wedge. False breakout here, false breakdown here. So because it's bearish in nature, because we have these lower highs, okay, and more consistent lows. It should break lower, or the probability is it breaks lower, but that doesn't mean it has to. So and we could have some positive news over the weekend, and the euro spikes up back to 113.50, but I think this would be ultimately the better place to be short. Let's not forget that the Eurozone economic data is markedly deteriorating. So I would rather be on the short side of the euro at this point. Not necessarily at this very moment. I don't know if this is the price to be, short. I think if you shorted the euro, close your eyes for a few weeks, you're going to wake up and go, oh, look, the euro's at 111. But that doesn't mean that we can't go to 113.50 first before heading down to 111. And that's the key. The trick is make sure you get the best entry you can possibly get. So that's what I'm thinking about the euro. Again, I'm not excited about being short. If this Brexit vote fails, which it may, that might be the catalyst that drives us below these lows, below 112. But I'm not not going to be doing that here and now. Okay. Now let's talk about. Well, we talked a little bit about the cable. The Aussie's, sideways. Kiwi is sideways, but Kiwi's below this what I consider triangle support. But you could actually go like this, and maybe we're not quite there yet. But the Kiwi is weak. Keep in mind that there was a very big shift in New Zealand, the RBNZ this week, and even yesterday, RBNZ's, or he said that the easing bias was their starting point. So they have obviously shifted to more of a dovish stance, which I think ultimately is going to weigh on the Kiwi. The one thing that's keeping the Kiwi afloat right now is obviously, if there's some sort of China-U.S. trade deal, then that's gonna help support the Kiwi. So no one wants to really be selling the Kiwi against the dollar, at least right now, knowing that there's a China-U.S. trade deal possibly in the works. Now, let's talk a little bit about a trade that I'm in right now, which is the Aussie New Zealand. I've been buying this down in the 104. After I was already long, sold it on the spike, and then I started buying it within the last 2 days. My cost average is right here. It's in the 20s. Okay. I've been buying this for the last couple of days. I am expecting a break higher in the Aussie New Zealand. Now, for a couple of reasons, obviously with the RBNZ shift, that's one. But I tweeted this yesterday regarding the Aussie New Zealand, and let me pull up the chart that I had posted yesterday on Twitter. If you have a China-U.S. trade deal, the currency that's going to benefit the most is going to be the Aussie. It's the one that's been beat down the worst, and it's going to be the one that benefits the most. Now, you could go, well, can I short the Euro Aussie? Yeah, or on a deal that got done, a China deal, you probably would do that. Now, I do think that the Aussie and the Kiwi will both spike higher following a China-U.S. trade deal, maybe in the following week. But I think the Aussie will outperform the Kiwi moving forward. All right. So this Aussie New Zealand, in my opinion, a break above 105 is extremely bullish in the Aussie Q. And I think we will see the 200-day moving average once again. So I'm preparing for a move above 104.50. Well, actually 104 like 70, 104.70, 105, somewhere like that. Okay, so anyway, that's just a little bit about the Aussie New Zealand. I'll talk about the Canadian here in 1 second. Let's talk about the yen. So the yen, with risk appetite as strong as it is, and you got the S&P that's back above 2820 once again. We're looking for a move below 28 or 2780. Hasn't happened yet. S&P is still holding up pretty well. Again, this is the whole. No one wants to really sell risk, thinking that there's a China-U.S. trade deal coming. So it's the S&P's got a bid. The yen also continues to have a little bit of a bid too, but we're still below 111, which is the 50% retracement of the dollar yen. Now, can we make it back to the 200-day, which is 111.40? Sure, we can. And that's the one thing that makes me a little nervous about the dollar yen, is that we might end up spiking up towards the 200-day moving average once again. I think this would be a better place to be on the short side of the dollar yen if I could get it. Not necessarily today. I'm talking about maybe here going into this next week, but I'm going to spike like that to sell into is what I'm thinking. I don't know if we're going to get it, but that's kind of what I'm waiting for at this point, maybe going into next week, not necessarily doing it now. All right. And one last thing is we have Canadian GDP. I do have to point this out because we do have crude oil that is extremely strong. Crude is trying to break out. Matter of fact, if you haven't looked at crude, crude is above this. We had a little double top trying to develop. Now here's crude breaking out. It's a Friday, so crude naturally tends to go up on Fridays. But the dollar Canadian, which, tends, if you have crude strength, Canadian dollar tends to strengthen. My question is, why isn't the dollar Canadian down here? Well, technically the dollar Canadian is in a bullish formation where we've got a longer term, up channel, inverted head and shoulder panel, inverted head and shoulder pattern that points to 136. We have this cup and handle pattern. We have a flag pattern. It all points to like 135.50, 136. And with crude oil as strong as it is, why aren't we down here? Well, we're not, and that's a fact. So if crude, pokes up against new highs like it has today, and then it backs off, and we get GDP out of Canada, which it is a backward looking number. We are expecting 0.1%. Okay, that's what the market's expecting. If that number comes in flat, the risk of the dollar Canadian actually breaking 134.50, I think, is pretty high. So that number comes out in about 6 minutes. So just and I'm going to pass everything over to Steven Stelios and Coach Dale. But we've got this nice little cup and handle. So a break above 104.50 is really quite bullish, especially in the face of a strong move in crude oil. So just some food for thought, guys and gals, for those of you that are trading the dollar Canadian. One other pair I should point out is the peso. Banxico didn't really. They did cite weakness globally, but they weren't dovish enough to for the market, and that the dollar Mexican peso just stopped up against this trend line. I do believe that if we break above this 1945, then we are going a lot higher. But with risk appetite, stocks being stronger, it tends to support the emerging market currencies like the pesos. So we are not seeing any peso. Well, we're seeing a little bit of peso strength as stocks are holding up really well. So we would need a little bit of, selling in the stock market to see this move take place, which obviously is not happening as of yet. So if you guys are short the dollar Mexican peso, look, you have a really good risk reward, and your risk. And that's the most important thing that anybody as a trader can ever answer is, have an answer for is, where's my risk? Well, if you shorted the dollar Mexican peso right now, your risk is above these highs. It gets above those highs and you're wrong. And I tell our traders all the time, it's okay to be wrong. You're going to be wrong quite a bit. I'm wrong all the time. it's just not okay to stay wrong. So it's okay to be wrong. It's not okay to stay wrong. So if you're shorting the dollar Mexican peso, so be it. Fine. If that's the trade that you want to take, that's fine. Just if we get above 1945, I don't know if you necessarily want to be short the dollar Mexican peso anymore. All right, guys, and just remember, I'm in the chat room pretty much all day. You know, Fridays we all kind of scatter over the course of the next couple hours, but you know, our private chat room with ForexAnalytix, and guys and gals, you can say hi right now. You guys are, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. You guys are all on Jumbotron. This is just for ForexAnalytix subscribers. And as you can see, there's about 96 of us in there. We're pretty active in there, chatting all day long, you know, posting charts and, you know, commentary and research and charts and everything else. And it's a great place for those of you that are, you know, traders and you trade all the time. It's a great place for you guys to be with us. And you know, we have a great community. I pride myself on that. So that's just on top of the cool ForexAnalytix platform that you get as well. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to pass it over to Steve and back over to Coach and to Stelios. And I want to wish you all a very, very happy Friday. So Steve, how you doing?
I'm good, mate. How have you been?
I'm just glad it's Friday. I'm pretty happy about that.
You sound better.
You know, I've been taking. I went and got prescribed allergy medicine, which it dries me out. But you know, it's just I'm just not sleeping well. It's the time change. It's getting a little warmer, so it's not as easy to sleep in. You know, when it's cooler here, you know, it's like you go into hibernation. In the summertime, it gets a little warm, and you know, it's starting to get warm here, and it's not as cool. And
how warm
anyway,
is it now?
It's beautiful weather. It's like 85 degrees here, which is
it's nice.
You know, it's gorgeous. You know, I mean, it's a little on the warm side, but I can't complain about that right now because it's going to get a lot hotter.
It's going to get a lot hotter for sure.
Yeah, everywhere. But yeah, it's
hey, buddy, do you have a pool in your new pad?
Of course, yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, great.
Yeah. So, yeah, but it's
you need
not
one of those in Arizona.
I think
bathtub.
I want to say about 85% of all homes and where I live, if you have a home, has a pool. It's pretty much a necessity.
It's not a luxury.
It is. So anyway, you guys have a great weekend.
It's the exact opposite from houses in Finland. Like the same percentage has a sauna in them for obvious reasons.
And a fire pit in the living room.
All right, guys and gals, have a great weekend. And
you, Blake.
You too, Blake.
Bye.
Hey, Steve and Stel, how are you guys?
Hey, Coach. Good.
Take us through some good and take us through some data here.
Absolutely.
Yep, we have Canadian GDP, raw materials price index, and then we have core PCE from the US, which we have to remind everybody that it's probably the favorite indicator for inflation for the Fed. So
until they find one that understates it even more, so then that's going to become the favorite indicator. Yes.
Oh, you are absolutely. So you are so you don't think they're authentic.
Oh, for some reason, no. Call me a cynic, but no.
Yeah. All right. Well, I play Johnny Lang's song, and whenever there's a central bank meeting, the title is "Lie to Me." Tell me everything is okay.
Actually, there was a nice series called "Lie to Me." I don't know.
Tim Roth. I love that one.
Oh yeah. He could tell by people's expressions and their body.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm glad you guys can't see me. All right.
So let's go through the data, and then you can, because it's only a few seconds left, and then you can take us over what we had overnight. So let me go on a shorter term.
Let's have a look at USD CAD, maybe, right?
Yeah, here it is. USD CAD on the bottom center. Here it is, and USD Yen bottom right, which is quite sensitive to US news. Let's switch top left to S&P. Those are 4-hour charts. Okay, so we're ready for it. should be out
Okay.
any second now.
Right. Canadian GDP 0.3 month on month versus 0.1 expected, so that's stronger.
Okay, so that's stronger.
Core PC went down to 1.8% from 1.9. It's still not quite a 2% target, but very close. So the personal spending also from the US worse than expected. So the US data slightly worse than expected.
And the Canadian
better.
data better. That's why we're seeing this pullback from the USD CAD. Let's zoom in on the 4-hour chart. Somebody can even see here, the potential of a little double top, which has, targets that are quite close. So there it is. I mean, between here and there. So, we might actually extend the losses further, perhaps once again towards this broken trend line at 132.60, 132.70. So, okay, let's see how this is going to go on. Obviously aided by, Blake mentioned that, but let me show it on the 4-hour chart because it was one of the things we were discussing yesterday. If you remember yesterday, I made very clear that, in order for us to get a confirmation that crude is breaking lower, the first level to watch was 57.90. Actually, as you see, we didn't even actually touch that level. We almost touched that level, and we now seem to be breaking higher. So that's why we use technical levels. They confirm or deny some specific scenario. In this case, for the time being, there is no breakdown. So I think we might see once again a retest of this ascending trend line resistance. Now, my thesis remains the same. It will be very, very hard for me buying up here. It's already, quite a strong move to the upside. So I do think that we should wait for some kind of a deeper correction before considering buying crude. So watch 61 to 61.50, quite good areas of resistance. We might get the beginning of something from there. Stelio, what did we have overnight? I know that we've been lately very, very active with the Brexit situation. Things are evolving every single day. So
yeah. Okay,
let us
well,
know
let's start from the data. We had some European data today, mostly worse than expected. So we had German employment data worse than expected. Actually, German retail sales beat, but Spanish GDP was lower than expected. It's been a mix of data from Europe and mostly towards the negative side in the past few months, and this trend is continuing. What else do we have data-wise?
I'm showing the DAX, by the way, and I do think that the DAX is still should be viewed as a selling opportunity. 50%, 61 point. We touched the 50% a while ago. 61.8 comes at 11,600. I do think that after breaking down from this ascending wedge and especially getting denied from that major level at 11,800 and getting this first leg lower, even if this is a correction, we should see at least one more leg of weakness towards perhaps 11,000. So I do think that the DAX is at levels that we should be selling it and not buying it. Go on, Stelio.
Well, today is supposed to be Brexit Day. Well, it's actually not going to be Brexit Day because we currently have an extension to the 12th of April. There are discussions to make it to the 22nd of May, and then we see what happens. But the main event today is another vote in the UK Parliament where they are voting for a part of the deal that May has negotiated. So they're voting, if I'm not mistaken, on the withdrawal agreement on the parts of the bill. So then the amount of money that the UK will have to pay, the backstop, the big issue, the Irish backstop, and I think also some of the citizens, the UK citizens' rights in the EU after the EU leaves. And the developments today is that the DUP is still saying that they will not support May, and they have not changed course on this from as long as I can remember. And but we had a couple of people, most notably Dominic Raab, who used to be the Brexit secretary, who has turned now and said he will support May. So there seems to be a little bit of a turnaround in terms of May's support, but I think it looks like we're still a million miles from actually passing anything. So that's the situation. Who knows what's going to happen? Remember, these are politicians, but at the moment, it looks like the 12th of April is going to be Brexit Day, and at the moment there is no deal or any kind of agreement. So that's where we stand.
Okay. Anything else?
God help us.
Anything else to expect during the weekend or whatever?
Well, we can always expect stuff, but nothing planned over the weekend in terms of the UK or the EU or that part. So nothing that I can actually report at the moment. No.
Okay, still great.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go through questions. So if you have any questions for me, since not much has changed since yesterday. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go over questions for 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna pass it to Andre, so he can show us what he considers to be the best opportunities out there, at least from the harmonic standpoint. We haven't had Andre on for several days, and I'm really, really looking forward to hearing, what he has to say and seeing what he has to show us. Okay, so let's go through.
Steve, I'd like to say something before you start the roundup.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're coming up on the 2-year mark. So I've been listening to your breakdown of the market every day, almost every day, for 2 years. And I've also seen your pips and what you've done in the market. And I have to say that I would be comfortable having you manage my money and would feel completely comfortable raising money for you.
Thank you very much, Coach. Thank you.
You're welcome, man. It's well deserved. I think you're one of the best I've ever seen.
Thank you very much. No, you're
not famous. You're not famous. You're not famous like some other guys, but it doesn't equate to a skill. Okay, so that's what I'm saying.
Okay, so let me go over the questions, and then I'm going to pass it to Andre.
I love you, man.
I love you too, Coach. You know that.
Hey, that's my line, Coach. You stole it.
Yeah, but you're only permitted to say that to me when you're wearing your when you're riding your swimming pool, Stelio.
All right, man. Anyway, great goal call. You still riding it or what, man?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. I'm still on gold, and I'm actually considering perhaps taking another quarter of profits just to be on the safe side. It's been a nice move so far. I think it has momentum. I think it shows that it has impulsive characteristics. So I'm not really worried about this rebound that we're seeing, during the past few hours. I do think that as long as we remain now below, let's say 1305 roughly, so even if we see something like this, or even a little bit higher from there, I do think there's going to be more downside. I do think that my first target, as I mentioned it on Real Vision, 1280, in essence, retesting this previous low. I think that we should at least achieve that, if not move lower towards this horizontal support area, 1265. So that's what I think about gold. Nothing has really changed here. Palladium, by the way, we mentioned Palladium yesterday. Palladium, even after the webinar was over, kept collapsing. I mean, it's
another great call with something we don't do pips on, but that's what I mean. And you know what? Hami Von Lee agrees with me. He said, Dale, you're very right. Stelios is great. So, it's not just my opinion.
So watch out a little bit here, because we might get rejected. As you see, this was a previous area of resistance that we tested earlier today. So I do think this is definitely a very strong move lower in Palladium. And I have absolutely no doubt that, the chances of bottoming out like this after such a price action are very, very thin, very, very low. So I do think that selling Palladium rallies, for example, this rally that we had to 1400, is the way to go. The next real area of support that I see here is roughly at 1266, 1265, whatever that is. So I do think there is more downside, and you know how it is. These kind of moves, like the one we had higher in palladium, is the moves for which, you know, the expression up with the escalator, down with the elevator came from, because you can see, I mean, we kept grinding higher. I mean, obviously a very, very impressive move to the upside, but look at, you know, this move to the downside. We actually, I mean, from the high to the low, that was 17% move within 5 trading days, right? So we gave back 17%, not of the move higher. We gave back roughly 30% of the last leg higher. We gave back 17% of the total price of palladium within 5 trading days. So, you know, as I said, it's still on sell the rally mode. Let me see now, USD NOK. Okay, I'm going to also cover USD NOK and then pass it to Andre. Andre is already here. USD NOK, let's first have a look at it on the daily. USD NOK for the time being getting rejected from the 61.8% fib. Quite a nice fib, there's no question about it. Let's see what it's doing on the short-term chart. There was this inverted head and shoulders formation. It's trying to invalidate it. Of course, you know, it's not really easy to determine where the, you know, the neckline is, because you can even draw it like that. I'm long only 1/4 of a position, because I just wanted to have something to monitor. If we drop below 857, I'm going to cut that out. Now, if we find some support anywhere between here and 857, I'm going to increase my position a little bit to 50% and see where it goes from there. Okay. Still, keep in mind that this move is being assisted by the strength we're seeing in crude. And as I said, I don't expect that it's easy for crude to sustain the upside for much longer. So I'm not worried that much about the influence of crude. Keep the big picture in mind here. And what does the big picture tell us? It tells us that USD NOK was in a very, very bullish move from, you know, actually, let's say from February 2013 to the highs at the end of 2015. And after seeing years, in essence, almost 3 years of a consolidation, which is indicative of a corrective pattern, we actually broke above that. We came down, we retested this broken trend line, channel trend line, resistance and support in 1, 2, 3, 4 separate occasions. It held every single time. So I can't possibly turn bearish as long as this is holding. That's why I don't have any problem trying the upside. Okay. So thank you all very much. Passing it to Andre. Andre always has some interesting setups, and we'll be back. I'll be back on Monday. Andre, I unmuted you. How have you been?
Hello, everyone. I'm fine. Thank you very much. And you, Steve?
Good, mate. I just passed you the screen.
Okay. Thank you. This one.
So what do you have for us? What are you monitoring?
Well, I was at this point. I'm just letting the trade is going in my direction at this point. So
I see USD CAD.
This is CAD. This is the chart that I published with all the possibilities, many possibilities for the price to start to fall. One of them at 160.8 extension, right below the weekly resistance there. So if you go into a live chart, it's this level here. At this point, the market has failed just by a few points, that specific Fibonacci level, but then later it has reached the level, and then it has started to fall today with the help.
What is the target for this pattern?
Fibonacci levels, first target at 38% retracement already reached. So at this point, break even and partitioning our position is my suggestion.
Yeah, don't forget that we can also now get an implied target from this double top, because you can even view this latest consolidation as a double top on the 4-hour chart. So if we extend that, what's the target? I haven't done it, but
let me try to project that. So let's say it's a projection similar to this move projected below. So it's 200 moving average approaching from below.
Ah, okay.
The golden fib, also the second target for the pattern, also below or close to that level. So I will not be surprised to see a reinforcement of, let's say, one potential at this point virtual trend line supporting or ascending structure supporting the price at this point. A breakout of this level obviously will increase the probability to retest those daily and weekly supports below. This is a 4 hours time frame chart, and if that happens, we have also this chart is published inside ForexAnalytix. So, but these levels may put some pressure also if the price approaches 131.91. The
132 has been support in the past as well, so it might work.
Exactly. So it can put some pressure there on CAD. Obviously, that synced with crude oil, which I was expecting a deeper.
What is your target? Your upside target for crude?
Let me push this weekly chart. So this is a chart published also for our community at November 26 last year. So I was expecting a bounce around these levels. We have the golden Fibonacci level here for a few points above the 45. Then we have the 224 extension. I was expecting a bounce with the 50% retracement. And at this point, we are trading the 50% retracement from these levels. So if you zoom out, we have a monthly support printed at 42. The pattern was printed just a few points above the 224 extension, and then we are now trading the 50% retracement of these levels. So we are now trading the default targets for, let's say, for the shark pattern. We all know the sequence the pattern may print us. So the pattern is something like this: a pullback, a false breakout, and the 224 extension printed above. And then a 50% retracement.
We've already achieved it, Andre. We're at new highs here.
We are trading above that 50%. Let me put that on a daily. We are already trading above that Fibonacci level. So let me be specific here.
Oh, and Andre, I want to also say that your harmonic work, you came in to the company to fill some pretty big shoes as someone who's a lot more famous than you. But
1 year ago.
Yeah, and happy anniversary. But your harmonic work, I believe is stronger. So anyway, anyway, that goes to say it's not how popular or famous you are that equates to your analytical skills, and yours are great, man.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's an honor to be here, and it's a pleasure to provide people and to share people with my view.
Yeah, and I discovered you too.
I hope that allows people to improve their own capabilities to remain inside this industry. I'm
sure.
Note that you have discovered me, but before the ForexAnalytix team contact me to work with. So and it's not a coincidence. But it happens, and it is a funny story.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a funny story. My targets, just to complete these thoughts around oil. I was expecting that retracement, that 50% retracement. The market is already trading that Fibonacci retracement level. I will not be surprised to see a fall from this level as a sequence from the 5-0 pattern. So it's a sequence that usually works well, but it's not the best pattern that I suggest to trade, because usually, well, we have another 50% price range where the price can find some pressure levels, or some let's say if the price decides to push to this previous structure support to find resistance later, that will put the price around 64. So at this point, I have no risk reward. The market is not offering me a decent risk reward to engage the market. That's one of the reasons why I don't like to trade the 5-0 pattern. So that being said, I still believe there's room for oil to trade higher, specifically today, if the market decides to violate this daily resistance, approaching this to 200 moving average above. So I believe the market will retest that moving average or approach that level.
62-ish?
62-ish, yeah.
Okay. Not
this
62, not 60 Jewish, 62-ish.
62-ish.
Stop talking about my faith, man. All right, anyway.
I need to practice my English with you.
That's all right. I knew what you meant.
Okay, and to complete also my view on oil. So we have this published chart on ForexAnalytix. So this is the inverted head and shoulders with the default projection at 61.98. So around the 62. So we have that specific level, the 168 extension, and the golden fib at 63.76. So let's consider this level as previous structure support, next resistance eventually. So the market is trying to, if the market decides to violate this ascending structure, which may end as a megaphone formation. We mentioned that earlier, Dale, I believe last week. It's not out of question at this point. The market can actually print a deeper pullback and retest this trend line or this virtual trend line at this point, and reinforce it as a support and act later as a megaphone formation. But until there, we need to wait. I was expecting for oil, I published this chart yesterday. As soon as the market starts to approach this level, this previous structure support level, I was seeing this as a potential double top. A violation of this level will validate the pattern. The market rejects that idea, which means the pattern is not longer.
But we know one thing for sure now, Andre. Back under 58, there's problems in crude in River City. Under 50.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. It's a nice pressure zone. So for sure, so violation of that level will at least increase some probabilities for.
How about the euro or the dollar? You know, I was commenting earlier. Everyone thinks the dollar. Okay, go ahead.
I have a few. Sure, shoot.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. Dollar. Let me go into a daily time frame and let me delete this. Also published. I published this chart before a bounce from this 200 moving average, and the market has decided to bounce. I believe I'm not sure at this point. Let me. No, I don't have that chart here at this point. So, but I was expecting at this point the formation of one eventual right shoulder. The right shoulder can be formed with the limit by manuals at the 78% retracement. So if the price starts to trade or to close above the 78% retracement, most of the times the pattern will no longer the price will no longer develop into this price behavior. So in this the price will not print that pattern most of the times, and obviously the probability to break above this daily and weekly resistance will also increase as soon as we approach the most recent higher highs. At this point, I still believe there's a possibility, which I don't know if it's a minor or a higher degree possibility, but at this point, based on the Fibonacci's and based on the criteria that we have here, there's still a possibility for a fall on dollar index. And if the market decides to violate this support level, which is crucial, obviously, if the price decides to violate these support levels, will increase the probabilities to form those patterns below. And why I see those patterns below, because usually those levels will act as strong pressure levels. Until there, we need to wait. There's nothing at this point. There was this bad pattern printed at 88% retracement, which has printed this deeper pullback, retesting the lows, reinforcing this ascending channel. Now, let me go into a weekly time frame. I believe I can try to show you this. Let me delete all these draws here. I need to draw a box here because there's also a possibility to develop into a bearish shark pattern or a bearish cipher pattern. And let me try to show, actually we have that pattern here. It's a weekly time frame. So dollar index inside an ascending channel, a violation of this structure will increase the probability to trade lower. There's a probability to form 3 drives, Dale, in a larger scale that can form this bearish shark pattern at 168 extension, previous structure support, pivot zone between previous resistance and previous support. 168 extension is positioned exactly at 99.49. Then if the market decides to violate above this level, we have a second shark pattern at 224 extension, and that will nail the higher high, the previous higher high at $103.86. So this is a 224 extension. The level that I'm focused on, if a violation happens of this weekly, daily, and monthly resistance, I will wait for that level for a potential 3 drives and the shark pattern at 168 extension. That may offer us then later a 50% retracement, which is a nice
99.
Yeah, that will put the price again at 93. Okay. Actually, it makes sense because usually the 3 drives will retrace 100%. So I believe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not. It's not a pattern that I use to engage, and I'm not. I have no studies behind these 3 drives pattern, but I believe by manuals they tend to recover or to retrace 100% or 100% of the pattern, I believe.
Okay.
That being said, this is my longer or my higher time frame approach on Dixie, and there's a lot to happen between this range, between this monthly support and monthly resistance. We need the price to decide which level will break first. Now, gold's weekly time frame also published below the potential formation of this shark pattern below. On a daily, the bearish pattern printed above at 88% retracement. It has forced the price to reinforce this level, or to reinforce this previous structure support now as a major support, the weekly support. And now, as we talk, we have this 4 hours time frame sharp pattern at 1618 extension, which I believe will search, it can search for the 50% retracement, 38% retracement as a minimum expectation for the pattern. Previous structure supports, 38% retracement, 4 hours, previous 4 hours fractal support also above. Trend line, and this trend line, well, we can spend a lot of time talking about trend lines, but let me try to show, increase a little bit this time frame into a 6 hours time frame. If you push back the price here, at this point we have this structure, this channel support and resistance level. At this point we expect, okay, the market will trade higher. This parallel channel is now breaking, and then the market has decided to violate that channel. And note that the market spends a lot of time to develop and to jump outside that parallel channel. And now we are again not rejecting, because we are below this previous resistance trend line, if you may call it, but a rejection. If the price rejects to trade above this level, or better saying, if the price breaks again or recover again above this trend line, I believe there's a possibility to form another pattern above, and we need to wait for that to happen. But let me just push my fibs here, and let me extend this price.
And Abed, I see you in the house. We'll be with you in a minute.
Oh, we have an interview with Dale. Yeah, set finishing here. So if gold starts to trade, let's say if gold recovers above the daily resistance 1311.28, if the price decides to recover above this level, I will not be surprised to see a Gartley pattern printed at 127 extension, eventually threatening this weekly resistance above, but keep the idea for, well, something like this, a reinforcement of this trend line. Well, let me adjust this like this. I will not be surprised to see a recovering above the daily resistance and the formation of this eventual bearish Gartley pattern at 127 extension. But as I said before, for that to happen, we need the breakout of this level, and that may also offer other opportunities to trade with oil. Yeah, that's all for today.
All right. Well, have a great weekend, Andre. Thank you so much for some of these guidelines and all your hard work. So
thank you very much.
Enjoy your weekend, brother.
Thank you.
Okay. Abed, I'm going to make you the presenter, which is going to give you the capability to share a screen if you like. Otherwise, I will go to your website and show it. And we're very much looking forward to meeting you. Welcome to FaZe, Abed. You are now the presenter.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Dell. It's a great honor to be here with you today. Yeah, we can go to the website. I'm very happy to be here because I saw some of your webinars. I saw a lot of work already done in your side, and it's a great pleasure to be with you today.
Oh well, I appreciate it because even though crypto has become much more popular over the last couple of years, for me, consider you're talking to a novice. I mean, I can trade anything if I have a chart, but what interested me was that you have a platform for people being able to become crypto savers and not traders, but savers. So I'd like to start, Abed, with, I looked at your background. It's very accomplished. Tell us about what you were doing before you entered the crypto arena, and what was it that brought you into cryptocurrency?
Yeah, thank you. That's a great question. So my background, as you probably seen in my profile, I'm someone in the data side. So I'm someone who worked in a lot of companies, have near 20 years experience in data.
Okay.
And every time when I saw some very interesting subjects, I tried to look at the problem more in data side rather than looking at the way how people are doing. So the way how people are doing is a great insight in the beginning. But if you look at the data, sometimes you find something very interesting. Like trading, I helped my team in my previous company in the energy market. So trying to trade and try to get a better price and and also a better profit when we trade the electricity and the gas. But it was also very interesting to work with them on this side, and that's why I jumped on cryptocurrency. So when I look at this problem with them, is like again a story that every time I look at this video, like just the previous one, I feel like, as he said, the previous person, which was very interesting. He said we can spend hours and hours talking about the trend and the chart and trying to find the best trend and try to find when it will be a good reversal and when we can make money at the end of the day is what we want to do. So I was like, why people are wasting their time on doing this kind of thing? Because we have data, we should understand. So if we got all this historical data, why not looking at the data side? So
okay, so are you in favor of people giving up the subjectivity and discretionary type trading to have something like an algo or some type of robot generating this so they could be on their sailboat or doing with it whatever else they want to do?
It depends, because you can, as you know, all the bots that existing in the market right now, all the bots can do whatever you want. So you can set up your strategy. So if you want to create a bot very performant, it's not that easy, and everyone knows that. One strategy can't fit every time, can't fit all the purpose, fit.
You're always those guys are always tweaking it, aren't they? Abed,
exactly,
because the market is ever changing. Here's a quote
exactly.
from a guy I interviewed. He goes, "The market's job is to convince you it's something it isn't."
Exactly. So that's why now we are on the stage of this is the part of the company we worked, and that's why I worked with my previous person and trading in my old company. Is we are not looking at the bot and algorithmic way to do things, because algorithmic way is quite easy to do it. Like if you show me the chart, I can probably create a bot and do it, but subjectivity, the news, what's happening in the market change a lot of view, and the subjectivity of the trader is very important in this side. So that's why the new field, the real field that is coming very, very fast now, is more having an
AI.
Exactly.
That's where you're going. So you know what?
Yeah.
My intelligence, whatever the level, is real. What's what's the edge with artificial intelligence? Because it's not real, so it's created by us. The edge is could the edge be that there's no emotions and psychology playing a role in it, that it's strictly, I knew a guy on the floor who his saying was, Dale, be a machine. Okay, so is that the big edge with AI?
Let me correct something that people probably misunderstand about AI.
I'm a neophyte with AI. because I have a hard time with my real intelligence, let alone understanding artificial. So, yeah, I
So
appreciate it. Go ahead.
the way, sorry, the way to use AI in this area is not to say it's not to say people are not intelligent. It's not that. It's the way to make sure that there is no emotion in that, and
Okay.
way to use AI is to a real AI is to understand the market, and after that, not doing probably the same thing, is to understand the full picture of the data, full picture of what's happening in the market, and after that, doing the right move. So AI is very powerful to just, in cryptocurrency, we are using AI for why? Because this market is 24 hours, 7 days in a
Very
week.
true.
So
Yeah,
we can't.
I never thought there would be
Human.
anything more extreme than FX. And at least in FX, we get a day off. But you're right, crypto, never. It's around the
Never
clock.
stop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it takes a machine to pay attention.
So,
Or a
yeah.
disciplined technician that trusts his orders and places the orders and knows why he wants to get in somewhere, where he's wrong, and if he's right, what he's looking for. And then you don't change your destiny by looking at it anyway.
Yeah. And the fact that I saw a lot of now the trend of AI is going too much crazy in terms of, I saw a lot of companies using the terminology AI just for marketing purposes. So I really want to emphasize the definition of AI. What is really AI, and what is not AI? So when I saw a lot of people creating only a bot, so like analysis and having a mathematical formula, just trying to do a simple strategy. So I heard the company doing 3 exponential moving average strategy, and that's it. So we automatize that and say this is AI. That's not AI. So when you have a code, a bot that is doing a rule-based engine, so basically on if and else. So if that's happened, I will do that. That's nothing more than just a rule-based analysis, rule-based engine, and that's not AI.
Okay.
AI is starting to be the first level. I will say the AI is just machine learning. So machine learning is what is understanding the past, and in most efficient way to try to predict the future. So when I said that, basically a supervised learning. So what is supervised learning? Exactly that. So you take the input of the past, input of all the data you've got in the past. So that's why most of the machine learning algorithmic that people are using, they try to add more data in the input. So in the input, your first input obviously is your price. So is the high and low, your bid and the ask, etc. But people will add more data in this, like all the financial indicators that people are using, moving average and Bollinger Bands, etc. So to add more features, and after that, try to modelize that to a machine learning, and the machine will try to predict the future based on the experience of the past. Okay? So that's basically a supervised learning. So if you look at that at this point of view, we were already in a technology very far in this area. And have you heard about the AlphaGo from DeepMind? Sorry for that. Have you heard about sorry for that. Have you heard about AlphaGo from DeepMind?
No.
So DeepMind is a company now bought by Google. So what they've done is, you heard about the chess game. They didn't do that in chess game.
All right, is that kind of, I haven't, but is that like, a lot of people will look at Google for, keywords that.
No.
Okay, go ahead.
No. It's about the game.
I'm not.
Sorry. No worries. We have the time to talk about that.
Okay.
DeepMind, they did supervised learning, so about the game of Go. So the Go is more complicated than the chess game because they have lot of possibilities, and it's quite difficult to understand how a game is worked. So what they've done, they give that to they give 20 million games to a man to understand the game, to understand all the games in the world, very complicated games, to understand how to win. So they did a supervised learning, and this model, model machine learning, they play after that. After learning 20 million games, they play with the two best Go champions.
Yes.
And they beat it with 20 million games learning.
Wow.
So that was published a long time ago already. But what they've done now, we are on the new age of AI.
Okay, is Watson AI?
Watson is one of the feature of AI. Watson is very good on NLP side. So this is another feature. I can talk about NLP in a couple of minutes. I just want to finish with DeepMind. So after that DeepMind, what they've done is to create a new field of AI. It's called reinforcement learning. So reinforcement learning is the new way. So that's why I said AI is evolving very, very fast. And that was not a long time ago. It was just at least 1 hour ago, 1 year ago. So 1 year ago, what they've done is the reinforcement learning. Reinforcement learning is what? Is learning without data. So learning by experience. So what they've done roughly, they do exactly the same thing with the Go game. And what they've done, they not give any games to the machine. They just explain to the machine how it works and how they will lose and how they will win. So it's explaining the rules of the game. That's it. And the machine play against itself. And after 4 million, only 4 million games, he won against the AlphaGo, the previous version, with only 4 million. So that means we are now on the stage of how to understand the data, how to use the data to understand the pattern of the past, understand also how things. The reinforcement learning is a next step ahead, is used now mostly in gaming. It's not using a lot on the trading side, but we are starting to use it a little bit. We're starting to use it to understand more about the experience of trading, not about having data from the past, but also playing with the past to say, okay, if you are doing that with this data, you will lose. If you are doing that, you will win. And that's a new field that's coming very, very fast in the AI side. So,
so can you show us what you've come up with, or give us a glimpse into what your conviction about this obviously is very strong, and you know, there's a great case made for you know, machine over man. And you know, you talk about the evolution of what's happened, and it sounds like we're entering a new paradigm. Am I reading you correctly?
Yeah, I think so. I think also it's going very fast. Jan Lequin, who is the researcher of Facebook in AI, he said that obviously about, because he's the father of the deep learning, and he's involving a lot on the supervised learning in deep learning, and also in reinforcement learning in deep learning. He said it's going so fast. We saw a lot of companies are running that. The problem we are facing now is we don't want this, what you said, we don't want human against machine. We want the human to use the machine for the humans. There is nothing about having a fight. There is nothing about fear of new technology. We need to think about, okay, AI will probably disturb something. We'll probably lose some jobs.
Displacement of people. Yeah.
However, that's also a role of people who think that is very good, and leaders to probably also educate people on this side to make people growing in this side, because there is a place to everyone in this field, because there is a lot of lot of verticals, a market to do with it, and to make this world better. So that's why
do you think that Toffler foresaw this when he wrote the book Future Shock? about the thing, was written in about the 80s or 90s about, information growing and just things changing so quickly that it overwhelms people.
Yeah, I think it's not. Yeah, the technology is evolving quickly, but I don't think the world will change quickly. So it's when you have a new technology, it takes time to disturb really the market and change radically. The technology of self-driving is there for a long time, and we didn't see a lot now. So it takes time to come. But it's so fascinating that we're just starting to use it for this project, and we think that it's a way to do things.
All right, so say right now, and a lot of, if it's over my head, a lot of this, it may be over others, and when you're an expert, like I talk about trading to people who are new, a lot of it goes over the head. Why don't we do this, Abed? I want to sign up, subscribe, or be a client. Show me why. Show me your product and why. And why. Give me the whys that I want to do business with you.
Okay, no problem. The why is just in front of you.
Yeah.
So the why,
I could be laying on a chair, a chaise lounge, staring at the ocean. That's everyone's goal. How do I get there?
So it's the first. So AI Eve by Pekium is the first fully automated investment platform on cryptocurrency. So the fact is just a passive income that anyone can do it. Anyone. So there is some restriction. I will show you why. Because we are currently only accepting crypto in the start, but we will open the fiat money very soon.
Has there been any drawdowns with this code that you're using or AI? Because in everything, you still need risk management. What's been the worst drawdown? I know that they still have to have losing positions, even though they're a machine without emotions. So, do you experience drawdown periods?
So we have some. So the thing with cryptocurrency, we have some black swan in crypto, a lot of them. But the thing in cryptocurrency, what is very interesting and very nice is that all the data is in the blockchains. So when you saw in the market in some exchange, because we're talking in cryptocurrency different exchange where the people are exchanging their cryptos. And each exchange has a different fee, taking fee on that. So
that's a good segue to where you trade your stuff, because none of them are really regulated. Do you spread it around to different exchanges, or which one do you feel most comfortable leaving balances with?
Yeah, we are using only one exchange right now, but the product could work on any exchange anyway.
Okay.
So we're working on the biggest one called Binance,
right?
And because basically it has the great volume, and the API is quite very strong, and is quite very the Binance is one of the best exchange in the world right now in the crypto exchange. And the volume is not something that they play with. There is a lot of things has been done on this exchange, and it seems that the volume is real. So that's great. So the thing is, even in an exchange, what's happened is that all the exchange, all the payment is in the blockchain anyway. So the thing is, people are missing something when they try to do this kind of work. Is not just analyzing the volume, the price, the high and low, the market weight, the ask and the bid. It's not just that, the orders, because if they just do that, it's just a classic analyzing on the trending market. We are also using data from the blockchains. Why? Because this is a way to see if something bad will happen. So black swans in the crypto are mostly coming on a strange habit in the blockchain. So when we see like a lot of bitcoins moving from an address to an address, it sounds bizarre. So this is where we protect most of the case, and when we understand more of the case. The other case when we see a lot of movement is when we have a big signal on Twitter and on Google News. So when there is a big announcement from a project, so this is what's happened. We didn't see a lot of news that is negative. Mostly of the news is really positive, but it happens. It happens when it's very negative. The last one was when the last election has fallen down. So that created a little bit disruption in the market, but it was not that heavy. So most of the time when there is a big drop, is when there is a suspicious movement on the blockchain. So these data
do you have a track record of real-time trading with your system?
Yeah, we are in the machine. The AI is refreshing every minute. So every minute we are reforecasting all the price and all the movement of the major cryptos.
Do you trade that? Do you trade that
Every
with
minute.
your own skin in the game?
So we are trading. So what's the question? Sorry.
Do you put your own money on the line with your belief in this AI program that you have? Do you have skin in the game?
Yeah, we have an account. I have my personal account in there, and we have some accounts on the company.
Okay.
Using
that sends a message, doesn't it? Rather than just being other people's money. I think that if you believe enough in what you're doing, that you also have to assume the risk you're asking others to assume. Don't you think?
We have. We have tested a lot of times, so we are using our money, and we are happy to use our money on our product.
All right, it's a great to know.
AIE.io. So this is the website, and we show the performance of the top 5, the bottom 5 of the portfolio. So this is the real customers, and this is the portfolio we've got. So this is a monthly profit. So the best is 6% per month. This is what we are doing right now, and they are all on the aggressive side. And the lowest one is only 0.11%. Is a moderate profile icons. So we have some videos to explain. We have another Ask Eve, is the MVP tool. I can explain about Ask Eve. And this is the roadmap. We shared every time we move something, we shared the date, and we are happy to announce that's happened. So we still, we believe we're still on beta version, but we already have more than 200 customers in there, and we have near 400 customers who were not there, but they expressed interest when they want the credit card payment on that. So we are just started. Which is
so you're in beta. You're in the beta phase now. I just noticed, and go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
The live version will be on the end of Q2 this year.
Okay. Well, you know what, Abed, I'm so glad I brought you here, because I'm going to pay attention to the evolution of your company. I'd appreciate if you stay in touch and keep me informed. And also, I want to congratulate you on. I can just see all the hard work. And even though it's AI and machine learning and everything, this was built with human blood, sweat, and tears. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
thank you very much. Yeah,
very interesting project, and glad our paths crossed on Twitter.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate you saying this is exactly what I try to explain to people. AI not means that it's a robot and there is no human behind. There are some people working on it. There is a lot of people who ask me this. You are doing this performance, so 6% for the best one. That's great. So why you not keep this product for you and stop working? I said to them, look, I have a lot of work. I did a lot of work on data. I believe that we can do something with the data. We can do something with our skills to change a little bit the world. I know that our product, we can't get 100% of the market, but this is just a piece of work that could be change the life of a lot of people. And just for that, the team is so happy to work on it. Because this is something
next time, everyone gets asked that question, and I have a response for you. We're like farmers who plant good seed and have a crop, not just to feed our family, but to feed others.
Yeah, completely agree.
You like that?
I like that.
My life is like a farmer, up before sunrise, asleep after sundown, except that I nurture seeds of greed for the harvest of pips.
I will use that.
Anyway, Abed, I wish you a lot of success. I could tell from your passion you're gonna have plenty.
Yeah.
So
this is the
okay.
If I have 5 other minutes, it's possible.
Okay, sure, go ahead.
I just want to show you the portfolio. So this is one of our customers, not the best one, obviously, but just demo. This is what we show. This is also in the mobile app. So in Android and in iPhone, in iOS. So this is what we show to the customer. This is the total asset, and this is what we use right now for the ongoing trades. And this is the credit. So for all the credit trades, we give all the trades we've done for the customer. So which coin we trade and what we buy, what we lost. So we are only using long trades right now because Binance only available long trade. We are not shorting coins, but it's all right. And he can cash out because every time we trade is filled, we give that to his sweet pot, and he can cash out when he wants. He can reinvest if he wants. And he can also, we will put that in the next week. He can withdraw when he wants.
Okay, so and it also looks like you have very reasonable low minimums to test the waters. Do you have a minimum? Well, like this is $263, right?
Yeah, so the minimum is 100.
Okay, that's a low minimum. Okay, so almost anyone's suitable to try it because people spend that on lottery tickets when they should be buying, so milk.
That's why we did the low minimum of 100. I know that people wanted to try and test it, and also the model is very, very easy. That's why we want to attract people on this and say that that's very, very, very fair. We didn't charge for the creating an account. We didn't charge for withdrawal. We only charge 25% of the profit. So every time we make a profit, we take 25%.
Okay. All right. So what's the best way besides Twitter? And the name of the company is Peculium, right? Or that's the handle?
So the Peculium is the company who did the token. So for instance, is a utility token. So we did an ICO for that. So the Peculium token is called PCL. So that's why it's a utility token. So if you have some PCL token, you can use it to pay the fee. So if you are using PCL paying the fee, we drop by 50% the fee. So we're not taking 25%. We're only taking 12.5% in PCL token. Okay. So it's the way to people to use the PCL token. But the company itself who did this tool is AI Eve. So it's AI Eve in the website aieve.io, and it's a company registered in the UK.
Okay, and like all of these companies, unregulated, right?
Yes, so we can't. That's the problem. So we really want. So we have a lawyer who look at that. The problem is that we can't regulate in the FCA because the FCA didn't regulate any company on this field. You only regulate if you are a derivative of crypto, but we are not. But we keep an eye. So anyway, if the FCA wanted to regulate this market, we will be so happy to do that.
I think it would help the industry because investors, whether or not it's true or not, would feel safer. So anyway, Abed, great meeting you. I wish you a lot of success, and perhaps we'll get together a little bit down the line when you're maybe out of beta testing and you're going live,
Yeah, yeah, of course.
and see how things are going for you and your people. And in the meantime, as I said before, I wish you all the success in the cosmos.
Yeah, thank you very much. And you too. I think you did also a great job. All this webinar every day, every time. So it's fantastic. Thank you for inviting me. And it's a great honor to have a chat with you.
All right. Right back at you, brother. You're my trading warrior brother now. And Abed, have a great weekend. And that's a wrap for us, everybody. Remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. And I'd like to wish everyone a great weekend, and I'll see everyone on Monday.
You too. Have a nice weekend.
Oh, and you're welcome, Hamid. What do you say, Dale? Have a great weekend, and thank you very much for all the effort sacrifices you make to give us a vision. Wow, that's a way to end a week. Thank you so much, and I'll see everyone on Monday. Enjoy. I'll be watching hoops. The Sweet 16, I think, is it'll be down to the Elite 8. Everyone have a great weekend. Adios, and thanks again, Abed.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.